was here an hour early. Hello, I'm Julian. Hi. Give everybody a nice, polite Canadian welcome. So, I'm Canadian, so it's very exciting. So, I'm a newcomer though. I came in 1980. I came on tour with a theatre company, and I fell in love with Toronto, and I fell in love with a Toronto girl. And so I've been married and living in Toronto for 35 years, I think. So my kids are Toronto kids. Anyway, so that's my sort of thing. And then, but by being in Toronto, it means that I go shoot a lot of stuff like Vancouver, Supernatural, and East Coast, and Winnipeg, Calgary, and stuff. So, yeah. I can't see you, you're blurry. Now, you might not recognize, see, I'm doing this in sections. I got a beard and now I'm putting on glasses. So I was worried, there you are! Hello. Now you know that it really is me. Yeah. All my American friends, when I go down to the States and I'll do a convention, they all sort of look at me and they go, it's really weird here. Sorry about, their eyes and talking about governance and stuff. And I said, it's fine, we knew about Rob Ford. We're used to all this stuff. So it's very interesting times, but great being here. And I've just come back from Montreal, where I've been doing some stuff. And yeah, have you got some Montrealers here? Yeah. That's the exciting thing for me as a Canadian actor, is to sort of see the film industry not just being Vancouver and Toronto, but it's spreading within Ontario up to the Sault Ste. Marie. We were talking this morning about Thunder Bay, then there's the East Coast, and there's Winnipeg, and there's different places. So there really is a film industry here. When I first came in 1980, I guess it was Toronto the Good, and I've been participating in its downfall ever since. And there's Sunday shopping, and bars are open, different hours, and all sorts of things are happening. But it really is a changing, evolving city, and it's great being here, great being a Torontonian. So I won't keep going. There's some folks lined up, and I'll get you to ask questions. I won't guarantee that I'll be very good at encyclopedic supernatural information. I'm kind of shady sometimes, but never mind. We'll see what I can do. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome. Thanks for being the first person.
Thank you for being here.
I came a long way. Exhausted.
So this might be the most important question you're asked all weekend. What's your favorite Queen song?
My favorite Queen song?
Yes.
Well, I guess it's got to be Bohemian Rhapsody. I think with all of us, it depends when we saw a particular song, or that video for Bohemian Rhapsody was so amazing when I saw it, and it was the first of its kind, so that was good. I saw Queen in the early days. They were the support band from Mott the Hoople. At the Oxford New Theatre. Oxford is actually the town I was born in England. And I saw them, and they were, and I'd never heard of them before, and this guy, I was going, who is this guy? Freddie Mercury. And they were amazing, and they kind of stole the show. But anyway, so that's my Queen story. Anything else?
What's your favorite dinosaur? I mean, if you're asking me to ask a question.
Well, because I live in Toronto, it's got to be a raptor, hasn't it?
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. Thanks for being our first person. There's folks over here too. Hello.
Hello.
I'm trying to be very statesman-like. I normally get all jiggly and fancy and stuff. I'm trying to be very, hi.
I love your accent, by the way. But anyway, I'm asking a question on behalf of my daughter. She's too shy to come up by herself.
Well, aww.
So that's her.
Wait, hi. Hello.
She would like to know if you are coming back this year in the alternative universe as Death.
Well, it's a good question. I honestly don't know. The way I look at it is, in the world of supernatural, anything is possible. So, let's hope! Who knows, I'm a character actor, so I'm very realistic in my expectations. So, if I do something that suddenly catches fire and is very exciting, of course, I'd like it to develop and extend, but at the same time, I do recognize too there's kind of over arcs of shows that are important to maintain, and I'm very philosophical. Like, I don't kind of go, oh, when are they gonna bring me back? Or like I don't bank my career on certain things. And I get out, and that's why I look like this. I'm doing a particular role in a show somewhere else, and I just get out and about, and I do what I do. But Supernatural, I have to say, and I'm not just doing this for your guys' benefit, is a very special show, as you all know, and I'm proud to be a part of it.
Well, we like it.
Thank you. Thanks. Hello.
Hello, Julian.
Hello.
So my question is, in regards to Death's entrance,
Yes.
he's walking down the street being a badass. A guy bumps into him. Death does a slow motion brush him
Yes.
off, and the guy dies within 2 seconds.
Yes.
So does the guy die because he touches Death, or because he didn't apologize to Death?
Wow! This is amazing, you know. So there's me on set. Okay, I'm gonna get out of the car like this, and I'm worrying about all this stuff. And I'm thinking, oh God, okay, I've got to walk very elegantly. I've got to do all this. This is my inner monologue, and then it gets shown, and then I get asked questions like that. This is an amazing business that I'm in. But it's a good question, seriously. And those kind of questions really point to the fact that the scene really worked. And I think that the reason the scene worked was a number of things. It was the soundtrack, which really created the mood. And also the way that it was filmed with the kind of like, it was kind of herky-jerky, and then it was slow, and then it was quick. It put you all off. And so you said I was walking down the street being a badass.
Yes.
It's funny that now a lot of people have said that, and they've got to say, Death is such a badass. So I'm kind of, this is a roundabout way of answering your question, is that when as an actor you play a role like that, it's very important that you don't kind of go in, I'm a badass. I'm not bad, so you better get out of my way, buddy. You know what I mean? Like, so if you're focusing on being a badass, you never are. You have to sort of focus on something else and let everybody else make that decision for you. So really, in my mind, I was just thinking, well, I'm walking along the road here. This is very nice. This is very nice. Excuse me, that rude gentleman just interrupted my thoughts. He's not even saying sorry. Goodbye. You know what I mean? Wow. That was my inner monologue. There you go. So, and just to develop what your question a little bit is, I think that the beauty of the way that my role was written for Supernatural is that I actually played not being bad or fierce or tough or any of that stuff, but I played going, I'm hungry, I'd like pizza. And so often, if you're focused on something else, you actually come across as being much more menacing. Do you know what I mean? Like you're actually playing the opposite of what people are expecting.
Yeah.
And thanks to Jensen and the way that he played the scene, the anticipation was there, and he knew what I was there for, and he was playing that, so I didn't have to play it. I just had to play going, hello, nice food, that sort of thing. And that makes me even creepier. You know? So, well, badasser, if there's such a word. Badass. Awesome. Anyway, that's a great question, thank you. And thanks for paying so much attention. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, okay, over here.
Hi, Julian.
Hello.
Lovely to meet you. I actually had a very similar question as the previous asker.
Yeah?
So I'm just going to follow up with something a little bit different.
Sure.
Yes, it was the most badass entrance I have ever seen. So yes, you are badass.
Badass.
question is, you mentioned playing against Jensen and sort of playing out that bouncing back and forth to figure out sort of what you're going to react as off of him. How much of the character Death is actually just the writers, and how much is Julian's input? Like how much of yourself did you actually put?
It's a great question. So to answer you, it's a bit of all of those, right? And sometimes, so I'm a character actor. That's what I do. And that's what I do best, and I'm a very specific thing. I was saying to folks earlier that I feel like I often will bring a primary color to a show or an episode where the leads who are there day in, day out, week in, week out, carrying the brand or the story of the show, they need more stuff coming at them, right? It's up to me to provide that, okay? So a lot of that is me, who I am. I can't help what, I perform in a certain way. I have certain instincts that I have to just trust and I have to do. But then there's the script. So I can't just kind of go, well, I think that I should be doing this. The script is obviously the parameters that I have to work within. So there's a bit of give and take. And then there's the other factor too, is when a guy like me walks onto a set, and I work with an actor like Jensen, who has been, I think the time that I worked with him was season 5. So he was first with him, so he'd been doing the show for over 5 seasons. So, he is established and seasoned and knows exactly what he's doing. So a character like me is at the mercy of that actor, whether they're generous, whether they have a set idea of how they are going to react or how you're going to react. Sometimes I'll go to a show and the actor that I'm with will say, no, I don't do that, you don't do that. You know what I mean? Like there's no room for collaboration. But I've got to say with Jensen, the opposite, where he's very much there for you as an actor, and he's playing the scene, and he's trying to make the scene play well and sing like a good song rather than impose his own idea of what it is. Because he's smart, he knows that it will be better if he plays what's written. So a lot of it was just us taking the script and that great idea that Death really likes junk food, which is kind of like a funny idea that the most powerful person in the universe has a secret vice. It's a great idea. So we just took that notion and we played it. And it was as simple as that. And then Jensen really played being scared of me. He didn't sometimes you'll be in a show and you'll watch the lead and they're apparently in danger, but they're not. You know what I mean? Like they're sort of sending winks and nods to the audience going, I can deal with this, don't worry. We'll come back in 20 minutes and you'll see me whip this guy. There's those sort of like little messages going out sometimes. Not with Jensen, not with Jared. Like they're very much committed to the show and to the different arcs and tropes of the show. So it's and I've said this before. They're good actors. They're great guys, but they're actually they do their jobs as actors, and that's great. So that's sort of a long-winded explanation.
It was perfect and very badass.
Okay,
Thank you.
All right. Hello. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
First of all, I just want to say that your panels are always so much fun. This is my second convention, and
Great.
my first one was in Nashville, and your panel is one of my favorites.
All right. Well, I've got a lot to live up to.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
My question actually is, what scene did you film that you had the most fun with filming for the show?
Okay. Well, the most fun, I guess. So I love those the ones that we're talking about. Actually, the one in the pizza parlor and the first one where my introduction. I love those, but those were my first days on set. So I've got to say, as a human being, I didn't love them because I was terrified. Right? And in that first scene, the one with the introduction of Death, the big thing was that I had to drive the Cadillac. Right? And the transport guy said, that's okay, you just get in there and then you go there and then hit your mark over there and there's a bit of tape on the floor and you put your left hand tire on that tape over there. Well, that Cadillac was like a boat. it was like, you know, you do this, nothing happens. So I was terrified. I was terrified of hitting the camera crew. I was terrified of hitting the equipment, just looking stupid, stalling the thing. And oh, sorry. Try again. You know, so I was very nervous, even though, you know, fortunately with the editing it doesn't look that way. But so the most enjoyable one, I guess, was probably the pickle chips. I had a lot of fun, and it was such a crazy idea. Like, I'd never heard of pickle chips before. And they were great, and I kind of enjoyed them. And everybody was, by that time, the character of Death had caught on, and the crew got it, and they understood it. And so I had a lot of fun on that particular episode. Not that I didn't on others, but I think by then I'd hit my stride, and you know, I was kind of going, well, maybe I could go out like this. So I think that was the most fun I had.
That's actually one of my favorite scenes of yours.
Okay, great. Okay, well, thanks for your question, and thanks for. Have you come from Nashville? Are you from Nashville?
Actually, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
Well, welcome, and thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Hi.
So my question is, like, how you found Supernatural, like your role, Death. How did it come across to you? From like an agent, a friend?
Oh, how did I get it? I've been asked this a few times. So, again, you know, I keep going back to the fact that I'm an actor, and that's what I do, and I've been doing it for a long time. And so, I just want to put things in perspective. Supernatural is a very special show, and I've been blessed by being a part of the extended family of it. But, you know, as an actor, you go into stuff and sometimes you think, this is the best thing ever, nobody's ever seen it, and sometimes you just don't know. Anyway, a long time ago, probably when Supernatural was in probably about season 3, I think, my agent called me and said, oh, I want you to self-tape for a show that's shooting in Vancouver. Put yourself on tape, and that's it. And that's what you do, you know, you get the sides, and then you learn them, and then you go in front of the camera and you do them. Basically, you forget about them, because when they're being sent somewhere else, you don't even have feedback directly from the casting agent. You don't know what's going on. So I did that, and it was for Supernatural, and it was actually the lines for Pestilence. So my agent, and I think this was the producers trying to figure out the Four Horsemen. So, and this was like way before they started to make appearances. They were trying to figure out the chemistry, and I think probably the only script that they had available at that time was the script for Pestilence. So I did that, I put myself on tape, forgot about it, and then literally, I think it might have been a year later, my agent said, oh, you got a gig on this show called Supernatural. I went, oh, wow. But I didn't read for that. So, you know, surprise. It was a bit of a surprise. But a smart idea. I think that it wasn't like they decided not to give me Pestilence and give me Death instead. I think it was just one of those things where shows try and devise what's going on ahead of time. So there you go. All this inside information I'm giving out. Wow. Valuable stuff. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Very well, thanks.
My question is, Death has always been kind of a neutral character,
Yeah.
not really for or against anybody.
Right.
But he's always seemed to be willing to do a favor for Dean.
Yeah.
And even after Death's death, Billy the Reaper continued to do favors for Dean.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, what is it, do you think that it is about Dean that makes Death so willing to grant him an exception and do him favors?
He's cute. You've gotta love him. I'd love to tweak his ear, but to give you a serious answer, I think that it's a nicely written part like that. I don't think that it's written, you know, to go back to the whole idea of being a badass, it's not written for me to walk in and be mean. It's just to know that I have the ultimate authority, and you should be scared of me. And don't piss me off. Right? So that's the kind of idea, but it's not like I'm a bad guy or a good guy. I'm just who I am. And I think that I have a lot of respect. And the way I always describe it is, it's almost like I have an uncle's kind of affection for Dean. He kind of keeps going wrong, and he upsets me and annoys me, but there's a kind of a twinkle in the eye, and a mutual respect for each other, and the fact that he, in many ways, is so human, and is able to mess up. And it drives me crazy, but I kind of like it, too. So that's the way I play it, and it's been interesting. I've been doing more shows. So, for instance, I did a show that shoots here in Toronto, Orphan Black. And it's very interesting for me as an actor to be given a role. I happen to know the producers and the showrunners, so there was kind of it was a funny way into the show. I didn't really audition. They knew that I was around and they wanted to include me in the show. So they had this role and they didn't really know what they were going to do with this role, but they said, well, come in and when you're available, do this part, right? But what was interesting about the way they described it and the way that they describe a lot of other characters in Orphan Black, they said, well, we're not saying whether they're good or bad, we're not telling you where they go. The audience has to make that up. So I think we're getting more sophisticated like that with our TV shows, as we're in the golden age of television where we don't really know who's a good guy and a bad guy, and we don't, somebody doesn't walk on in black and then you get creepy music. It's more ambivalent than that, and I think that that's the way of new shows now, is that there's a sort of a challenge for actors to just be who they are and to go on an interesting journey. I'm happy with that, of course, as an actor, because it means I don't have to play one note. Right. Anyway, thank you for your question. Okay.
Okay, taking you completely out of this room in the world of supernatural, seeing as how you seem to have a lovely British accent?
British, yes.
So where would one go in Toronto for some food that either you or Beck would approve?
Well, I was sort of like that. People say, there's a great new restaurant opened at, Adelaide Street, downtown core. And it's really expensive. And I tend to like, I'm a beer and hamburger guy. Or a pizza. I'm not a high cuisine guy. I grew up in England. And chip butties were my standard thing. So I go for filling and nice bit of spice, nice bit of something. We have a huge amount of restaurants in Toronto. Where are you from?
Rochester, New York.
Rochester, New York. Welcome. So I would say one of my favorite foods in Toronto is actually roti. We have a big Caribbean community here, right? And East Indian community. And so along Queen Street, there are many roti shops. And they're kind of quick and easy, and they're reasonably priced. But you get a lot of different vegetables and meat and jerk chicken and different spices. So that's kind of my idea of a fun meal. Okay. And you can have it in one of the restaurants. They're very casual, or you can have it with a beer, or you can, it's very relaxed. So that's my kind of ideal cuisine. And it's very funny that I actually play a character in Supernatural that echoes my tastes. And sometimes to a fault. I've told this to people before, where the problem with that pizza scene that I first did with Jensen is that I like the Chicago pizza so much that I ate too much of it in the early rehearsal, let alone the take. In the rehearsal, I was like, oh, this is good. And by the time it came to tape it, I was like, So, spit bucket. More details that you don't need to know. I'm spoiling the illusion. Anyway, thank you. Thanks very much. Okay.
Hi, how are you?
Very well, and you?
I just wanted to know who or what inspired you to begin your acting career?
Oh, okay. So I'm one of three boys. I'm the middle boy of three boys. My older brother had this peculiar talent, and he used to build stuff in our backyard and he would build circuses. And he'd say, okay, I've built this circus, now you're going to be the guy in the middle, you be the ringmaster, and we'd get all the kids from the local neighborhood, and they'd do all their stunts and different stuff. So by default, I used to inhabit my brother's universes, and he went on to become a set designer. And then he went to a youth club that put on plays, and I thought, well, this is really cool, but I don't want to be a designer. I like acting. So I went to the same youth club, and my younger brother went to the same youth club, and he started lighting the plays that he put on, so he became a lighting designer. So the three boys, because my parents had the foresight to kind of encourage us in our weird enjoyment, entertainment, I guess. So we're very fortunate with somebody recognized that we had that creative outlet, and we were encouraged. So that was why I became an actor.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Hello. I just want to say that I love you as Deb, and I have a little bracelet for you.
Well, thank you. May I take it? Nothing terrible is going to happen to me, is it?
No, nothing.
If I walk off the stage, it's okay, is it? You're not violating any terrible. I think I need a soundtrack. I promise not to brush my shoulder. May I see it? Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. Sorry. May I give you a hug? Okay.
My question is,
Yes.
if you had to choose Jensen, Garrett, or Misha.
Oh, great! She gives me a gift, and then she asks me a question like that. Really? Okay, I'll put this on. What was the first bit? Who do I...
Who do you like more?
Who do I like? It's not fair. I think, really, given my character, who pisses you off more? I think that should really be the question. I have a soft spot for all of them, actually. And now, are we talking real people, or are we talking personas on Supernatural, or both?
Real people.
Oh, real people! Even worse! Even worse! Who do you like? Well, Dad said that he doesn't like you. I'm neutral. I'm staying neutral on this one. And honestly, I like, what a bland response is. I like them all. But I do. Now, I've met Misha more times because I've done more cons with Misha. And we did a few in Europe, and so we kind of hung out a little bit together, so I feel like I know him more. The boys tend to come in separately, and they stick together. So on a personal level, I don't really know them that well. They're fabulous guys, and they run a great show. They are the show leads, and it comes from them down, the whole style of the show, and the reason that we're all here today, right? The reason that it's got such a great following, and we feel like family. I can't say, I must admit that in terms of the characters, Misha's character is certainly annoying. He's very ear-tweaking, isn't he? But that's Kat. Oh, I've just offended her. Question. It's loaded, right? Like anything I say, it's going to offend.
Well, Cass is like a little baby.
Is that, what about me? What about my character? What about that?
Absolutely amazing.
Oh, okay. All right.
But I would definitely pick Cassiel.
Okay, that's fine. I'm fine. But thanks for asking. Oh, I like the arms. No, thank you, and thanks for your bracelet. I appreciate it, and thanks for your question as well. Thank you. Bye. Hello.
Hi, I'm asking this question kind of on behalf of my friend who refused to come up here because she said she loves your character too much and it's too early in the weekend to cry.
Aww. Hello. Do a long distance cry.
So my question is, at the end of season 10 when Death gives Dean his sight, do you think that he knew what Dean would do? Like, do you think that he knew when he gave his weapon away that ultimately it would end in his death and he did it anyways, or do you think he was taken by surprise?
It's hard for me to say in terms of what the writers think, but I played it that it was more of a surprise. Because again, it goes back to that thing of being as human as I can be for Death. Because the more kind of otherworldly and all-knowing I play the character of Death, it's not as interesting as if I'm actually human and vulnerable and I make mistakes. Which I made a big one at the end with a scythe. Trusting that guy with a scythe was a huge mistake.
So do you think he was like offended or hurt, or did he kind of like accept it? Like he was surprised that he accepted it, or do you think he was kind of like, wow, jerk?
If it's possible, I think a little bit of the two. I think surprised and then taken aback, but I mean, we're talking about a Grim Reaper, so he knows the way that life goes and the way that things work out. So I don't think he's that surprised at the end of the day. But I think at the end he keeps coming back because he has a soft spot for these guys. It's like love, isn't it? It's like... Anyway, thank you. Thanks for the question. And thank you. Hi.
Okay. So you played Death, and
Yeah.
you did amazing that way. But out of all the other characters, like on Supernatural, any creature, character, anything, by your own personality and your own beliefs and stuff, which character do you think you would be able to play the best?
Of anybody
Other
else?
than Death. Yeah.
Other than Death. I don't know. Who's the most fun? You know who I secretly want to be? Kevin. I mean, talk about the polar opposite of who I am and the kind of character that I would play. Osric Chow is the cutest guy in the world. I would love to play a character that Osric would play. So that would be my secret. Oh, but you just heard my secret. It's no longer a secret. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, and thanks for overcoming being nervous too. No need to be nervous, but I appreciate it.